which is if you have this data and standards, what does it do and how can you use it and how can it make a difference? So later on, we're going to be talking about the IE standard for 61724 is BV performance. But there's a number of standards out there. And so my role at Wells Fargo is to represent our clients and try to provide financial products and services in helping them make, another term we use, solar bankability. Solar bankability is if we can go to the financial markets and give them some assurance as what's going to happen and how the plan is going to perform. But more than anything else, we're starting to look at actuarial data now that there's becoming more and more data available to see what we can do to create more effective response and risk management out of the data. So what we're talking about, did I just do something wrong here? Is we're involved in two different groups. One is SGIP, which is Smart Grid Interoperability Panel, and the other one is XBRL. XBRL is the financial reporting standard used by publicly traded companies to the U.S. government, particularly the SEC. And as you're probably aware, there's 2,000 utilities that are publicly traded. We have solar companies that are publicly traded, and construction companies that are publicly traded. That means a lot of the data tags that we need now exist in a government-sponsored, non-proprietary data standard that we can actually apply to do some data analytics on. What we're trying to do with SGIP is to coordinate what the XBRL data sets are with what can be applied in building solar facilities and then ultimately maintaining them. The objective is to be able to have a common platform of information across systems, across providers, across vendors, so that we can actually do portfolio management instead of one-off. So when we look at system performance, we have two different data sets. We have the construction side, and then we have the operation side. And so some of the financial products that I'm talking about is in the construction with the interconnection, which is during the initial construction phase. But then the real challenge is once it's built and operational, we have 20 to 30-year obligations for the power purchase agreement or the decommissioning. So our ability to provide those obligations is directly dependent on our ability to know how the systems are performing. And we can't really do it one-off. We have to portfolio it. So that's why we're looking to help influence and encourage the common adoption of standards across the board. XBRL is international, as IEC is international, so this is not a domestic effort. And so when we look at how many people touch a data set during construction, we find that there is a number of players, and they're all looking at the exact same information. What's the contractor's name, what's the contract amount, what's the project site. And with that information, it enters into the surety industry because we have bonds that we issue as well as insurance products that we issue. And so we're working on what those data sets are for the construction. On the solar side, once it turns over to an operational, we can identify a number of buyers which would all be very interested in understanding how the system is performing. So again, right now, most often the decommissioning obligations and the power purchase agreement obligations are covered by letters of credit. And unless you're the strongest of the strong, most letters of credit are backed up with cash collateral. And that cash collateral is obviously the cost of capital, and it makes projects more expensive to finance. And if we can come up with surety products or insurance products or even banking products in which, because of the improved intelligence and the ability to actually track the performance of the ongoing of a system, and we can eliminate that cash requirement behind the letter of credit, then we will actually be helping make solar more bankable and hopefully promote more solar development. So when you think about where we were yesterday, this graph is sort of simple. On the left-hand side, we really didn't know how panel systems are performing. But tomorrow, as the evolution of technology is coming and the ability to monitor and track, you're going to be able to see which systems are really performing well, and you're going to see which ones are performing poorly. At the end of the day, the one that's going to get better financial terms is going to be the system that is performing well. So when this workshop talks about performance, reliability, and all the rest, its impact will be huge. Because not only internally is it important as you protect the value of your asset for your stakeholders and your owners, but as you reach into the financial markets, your ability to define and quantify that you have operational systems, that you have quality, it will translate into financial terms and conditions that are generally much more favorable than if you cannot describe what it is you're doing. So these standards are currently evolving, and there's a number of efforts going on, and so we encourage everybody to kind of look at it and plug into it, and you're going to see a lot of that later in the sessions. So what we're doing is just that, trying to make solar more bankable. And that was my 5 minutes. Thank you very much.